Okay, so I went to a Raspberry Pi Jam event around here recently at the library where all the sort of local people with Raspberry Pis meet up and showcase their things that they're doing and help each other out with stuff. Excuse me, I've got a cough today. I didn't have one at the time. I just went along because I knew some people going from another project we were doing, and had a really good time and met some cool people. So decided to get one myself, which arrived the other day. So it's all in here. It obviously only consists of just a board. Got a 64 gig card, which some people have been laughing at me for getting such a big card, but I want to dual boot this with XBMC to play films on, so I thought it'd be handy. And then there's your DVI cable, well, HDMI excuse me, to DVI. I also got this, which is because I want to run this thing in the van, so that I can use it for programming. I want to use it for programming projects and also as a media centre in my camper van. So when we're camping, you know, we can watch films and all that sort of thing. So this produces the right voltage, and I'll just, you know, run 12 volts into that, and Bob's your uncle. I just got to run the screen off 12 volt. So I found instructions on how to set this thing up. So you have Raspbian and also XBMC within it. The instructions, a link to the document with the instructions that someone's done, will be in the article that's with this video. So if anyone wants to do the same thing, they should be able to do it. So I'm going to go ahead now, and I've never done it before, have a go at getting this thing installed and see if I can get XBMC on it, and then I will carry on filming a bit more from there. Okay, cheers. I forgot to mention a couple things. I decided to get the Model B with 512 meg of RAM, and I'm going to do this. Maybe if I just put this up here. So most people who deal with Raspberry Pis know exactly what they're all about and everything, but just in case you don't happen to know and you're not someone who knows lots about Raspberry Pis, they're a great little board with a system on chip. I can't remember the specs, but you know, it's enough to do some pretty powerful stuff, and you can decode HD video, which is pretty decent. You got an RJ45 port, 2 USBs, I'm gathering they're USB 2s, and a 3.5mm audio jack, a composite video, that looks like. This looks like, what is this? This is a bunch of usable data pins, I think, for programming projects. The SD card slots in tidily underneath, and I don't know what that is though. There are two other, look like ribbon cables, ribbon cable connectors. I don't know what exactly for, but you know, I'm going to find out very soon. And looks like another header there, well, could be, and there. I'm going to, obviously, like I said, for home theatre video stuff, but also I would like to do some MIDI and audio work with it, like MIDI controller related, or sensors and MIDI instruments, VSTs. I saw someone doing some MIDI work at the Raspberry Pi Jam, which was pretty cool. So yeah, anyway, I'll carry on trying to install it now. I foolishly neglected the Holy Grail, which is the HDMI port there, and this whole thing is powered via micro USB, which you see there. I assume that that does not do any data, it's just power. Yeah, I think so. Onwards. Okay, so while it's downloading, I thought I'd mention that when I was talking about installing Raspbian and getting XBMC to run within it, that I've since found that the noobs image that they've released, I don't know when they first released it, but it allows you to multi-boot into Raspbian and XBMC, and it's already, you know, it's already done for you. So I'm downloading that now. It's 1.3 gigs, so that might take 20 minutes, but hopefully that will allow me to do what I was wanting to do without tons of messing around, because I'm not a Linux penguin yet, and so it makes it a lot easier. Okay, so I've got Noobs downloaded. It's copied to the SD card. I wanted to partition my 64 gig card so I can put films on one partition and have it nothing to do with the Raspbian and XBMC stuff. The tool they supply you with just makes one massive partition. I didn't want that, so I've loaded up my own. It's called Partition Wizard Home. I don't know if it's free or it's fairly easy to get hold of. I find it as good as like Acronis and all that stuff. It does the business, does it well. It's a really good tool. I found it when using a Hiren's boot CD, which is really good. So I've created a 40 gig partition for files as NTFS, because apparently XBMC can read NTFS, and I want NTFS because of some of the films I've watched maybe over 2 gigabytes, and you can't have files over 2 gigabytes on a FAT32 partition. And then I've got a 20 gig FAT32 partition, which I've just copied the Noobs archive, extracted it to that directory, which in a minute I'll set the Pi up and boot to that. Another point to note is, after partitioning this, Windows cannot see both partitions on the SD card. It can only see the first one. So that leaves me the problem where I put the SD card into Windows 7, I can see the Noobs partition I've made, but I can't see the big 40 gig partition in order to put my films on it. But apparently there's a driver you can install for, what's it called? Hang on, I've just got it here on the screen. Okay, so you can do it by replacing the driver for the SD card with a Hitachi microdrive driver and do some modification, and apparently that allows Windows to see multiple partitions on the SD card. So I will probably have a shot at that and explain a bit of how that works as well. Okay, so next I'll wire this Pi up and see if it works. Right, now we have it. This is wired up. The screen is waiting for a signal. The SD card is in. This is a wireless, you know, keyboard and mouse. And here's the power. Now we're completely under the assumption that it's going to fire up and it's going to look at the FAT32 partition with Noobs on it and boot it. So I mean, that's a fair amount to assume there, so I won't be surprised if it just don't work. So we have to see. I've got to try and have 3 hands again here. Which way round are we? This way. Flashing light. Nothing so far. Okay, so I put the SD card back in, loaded up the partition wizard. The FAT partition, although it was primary, it was not set to active. I've set it to active and I'm going to try again and hopefully it'll work. So attempt number 2. You can pull the wire enough. One. Still no signal. Okay, so 3rd attempt. Not try to jump the gun and do anything clever this time, like partitioning or anything smart like that. Just gone for the basic. Use the format tool, 1 partition, copy noobs on there. We'll try again, see if it works. I'm expecting it should work, and I'll be dissatisfied because I haven't got the partition I wanted. But I'm sure I can find out how to do that afterwards, or you know, I just want to see the thing on the screen. So let's have a go. Right. Not a lot going on so far, really. Right. I'm gonna have to start slinging it around the room in a minute, I think. Alright, I'm now gonna have to battle with it. Right, I've got to share this with the world. After all these attempts of trying to get the Pi to boot, and I've tried several SD cards, I've tried partition types, I've tried different versions of Raspbian, I've tried the image, I've tried noobs, tried all these things, and I was sure, you know, I knew I'd set the thing up right. Now, it's very hard to see behind my monitor and see what I'm doing, so I decided to get a torch, get the camera, backward camera on my phone to have a look at what's going on, and I can see that I've shoved the DVI cable, I've shoved it right next to the port. So as you can see, I hope, the cable's sort of just stuffed into the monitor and it's not actually in the thing. So I think all along maybe it is booting fine, and I've just been playing around with all this silly stuff and I didn't put the wire in right, so that's the reason. That's how it should look. You know, the cable's going into the actual connector. Can't believe I got that wrong. Right, attempt number loads. Let's see if it works this time. Got noobs on there again, and the screen's plugged into the wire and the wire's plugged into the screen, and hopefully it's going to do it. Cable. Alright. Oh yes. Okay, it's throwing some errors at me. I think it's to do with the fact that I've had another shot at partitioning it and doing it how I want to do it. I have a quick fiddle with it now, but always make sure you plug the wires in, because if you don't, it will just look black on the screen. Yeah, it's not very good. Right, no errors for once. Put the SD card back in the PC, recreated the NTFS extra partition I wanted, ran scan disk, didn't find any errors, but still just verified that the partitions are as I want. There's the noobs partition, and there's the big 40 gig files partition. This is booted up, it's resized the FAT partition, and it says available 60 gigs, so I don't know what it's done to what I wanted it to do, but we'll soon find out. So at least it seems to be working. That's what we want to see. Successfully installed. Right, well now it'll be on to playing around with those, and I'll try and stop rubbing my head whenever I'm talking. I seem to do that. So yeah, I hope it's been a helpful video.